Hello, it's Tracy here from the Wildlife Garden. I've come today to talk to you about Mahonia. It's a plant I have in my garden that's evergreen. I don't think I've mentioned it before. Very prickly plant. You might be able to see there's quite sharp thorns on the end of each leaf. But the best thing about it is it begins to flower now. As you can see, it's just coming into bud. It has beautiful yellow flowers on. It's great for any late feeding insects. Any pollinators can find it. It's got quite a perfume to it once it's in flower, and yeah, it's a great winter food source for insects. It can get quite big. I do cut mine back each year, just cutting the top off, cut the flower heads off really once it's, well, I say flower heads off because it produces beautiful berries after it's finished flowering, which the birds devour. They don't last very long. And then I tend to cut the flower heads off, and it reflowers the following year just to control the height. Yeah, it's a great source of food for blue tits too. I've observed the blue tits feeding on it when it's in flower. They love to drink the nectar out of it. So it's a great plant, as I say, evergreen. So yeah, and it's shade loving really. Mine's in a bit too much sun possibly, but it seems to be doing okay. Move back. So I would really advise anyone who wants to attract insects and feed them all year round, which is what they're, is a great way of helping our wildlife, is to have a Mahonia in your garden, because that can extend the feeding period through the year. So yeah, if you can, get yourself a Mahonia. I'll just turn you around now and you can see how the garden's completely changing now. The apple tree's virtually lost its leaves, the birches are yellowing up. The cherry tree is still quite green actually. It's getting a few red leaves, so presuming we haven't had a cold enough snap for the cherry to change colour yet, so that's still evergreen, still green. Yeah, so the garden's looking very autumnal. I've got a pyracantha up the top here, which is still covered in berries, but the pyracantha down the bottom was stripped in no time. So some beautiful berries still there for the birds should the weather temperatures drop. The fern is still looking amazing. So yeah, the garden's still, I can't believe how green things still are. The oak tree, as I told you a while ago, it did produce some leaves after it lost its leaves in the heat wave, the shock of but they haven't grown any bigger than that. They're not full grown, so they'll drop eventually. I think it'll be fine for next year. An enormous bed of nettles now in next door's garden after they did all the demolishing of the garden. It's an enormous bed of nettles, so that's great news. Yeah, so if you can get yourself a Mahonia, do so. If you can find a space for it, and that will extend the feeding period in your garden for insects. So there we go, nice little update. Look at the colour on that. Right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Hope to catch up with you again soon. Perhaps I'll film the Mahonia once it's actually in flower, so you can actually see how beautiful the flowers are. Okay everyone, take care. Best wishes, Tracy.